Violence can touch anybody in any community.
And Austin is no stranger to police lights and homicide investigations. The city is putting in work to change all that. The group taking to the streets for a safer future.
The coldest air since last winter begins arriving this weekend. We'll track how many nights drop into the 20s and an update on light wintry mix possible.
And the White House joins in on the fight to save TikTok as its life in the U.S. hangs in the balance. The last-ditch effort in the works as a potential nationwide ban looms on the horizon. And thank you so much for joining us. I'm Jennifer Sanders.
I'm Daniel Marin. From burglaries to shootings, most of Austin's violent crime suspects and victims had previous involvement with the criminal justice system. Well, now the city office that's tasked with trying to find a way to break that cycle is sharing more about the community-based efforts to do so.
And KXAN's Brianna Hollis introduces us to two of the people trying to make that happen.
To tell you today's story about gun violence in Austin, we take you to Burton Drive, where 5 of last year's 70 homicides took place. The apartment-lined street intersects with East Old Torf, right by a bus stop, a bike lane, and a few small strip malls with various businesses. And it's on this very corner where we had an important conversation with Jeremias Cooper and Michael Salazar with ATX Peace.
And so we wanted to prevent any kind of gun violence from happening throughout the city. But we targeted Burton because of the murders that were happening here.
ATX Peace is one of the boots-on-the-ground operations that works under the umbrella of the city's Office of Violence Prevention. Part of that includes having folks like Cooper and Salazar, who have their own experience with violence and incarceration, physically show up to neighborhoods after shootings or other similar episodes to get to the root cause of what happened.
We're over here having pizza with the guys, coffee with the guys, and we're literally having them come to us and ask us how we can help them.
Last week, the Office of Violence Prevention, founded in 2021 and operates via city budget dollars and grant funding, discussed gun violence deterrence efforts with the Public Safety Commission. The group's leader, Michelle Miles, said the city's violence is driven by, quote, a very small fraction of people, which is part of why the office has dedicated so much time and money to the types of work Cooper and Salazar are doing.
That's why we do what we do. Because we love the community, because we are the community.
And we also ask for people to be understanding in the fact that everybody out here is not bad. Their circumstance and their situation doesn't define who they are. What defines who they are is the character. But you won't know that until you come out there and talk to them.
Brianna Hollis, KXAN News.
And the Office of Violence Prevention is currently working on securing additional grants that specifically target gun violence. Going in depth, according to the office, most of Austin's homicides happened in districts number 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that's mainly East and Northeast Austin. ATX Peace, who you just heard from, currently has operations in the Rundberg area in District 4 and others in East and Southeast Austin.
In another effort to keep Austinites safe, crews have now put fencing up on 6th Street sidewalks as part of an expanded pilot to open the street up to cars on the weekend. The fencing joins rubber bumpers that are between Red River and Brazos Street, and street parking on 6th Street will no longer be allowed. So that creates more spaces for pedestrians to walk safely, and the new fencing is currently up between Neches and San Jacinto streets, and it's meant to serve as a barrier between expanded pedestrian areas and cars on the road.
First warning weather with Chief Meteorologist Nick Bannon.
It really was a beautiful day here in Central Texas. You got your chilly start, your pleasant afternoon. Just some scattered clouds off in our southern sky right now, but overhead, a lot of blue sky, as you can see from our West Campus West Shore home camera looking from West Campus toward downtown. As far as the temperatures, up a little bit over yesterday, low to mid 60s for most of us now. A few places like Blanco down into the upper 50s, but still reasonably close to average, if not slightly warmer than average, and also slightly warmer than yesterday by roughly between 1 to 3 degrees. There are still some scattered clouds out there in southern Gillespie, Blanco, Hayes counties, Caldwell counties too, that you're likely seeing in your southern sky from wherever you are, and that's what we're seeing from this vantage point as well. We'll be at 56 here at 7 with a mostly clear sky, 51 at 9. We'll start to thicken up the clouds overnight, and that will actually help to keep our temperatures up overnight, at least compared to last night. Our warming continues. We'll show you the sudden changes that we'll notice here this weekend as things turn colder on Saturday eventually, but the delay is going to be in place from the time the front arrives, from the time you really start to feel like winter. We'll also update you on chances for a light wintry mix as we head through next week. Well, the Santa Ana winds have died down across Southern California, helping firefighters bring almost 40,000 acres of ongoing wildfires under at least some control. The fires have killed at least 27 people and swept through residential communities, destroying more than 12,000 structures. The reality of a difficult recovery is now settling in. NBC's Ellison Barber reports from Pasadena, California.
Fire officials updating this morning saying they have made notable progress on both the Eaton and Palisades fire, and wind conditions, they do seem to be improving. Fire officials with LA County saying there is a limited red flag warning remaining in effect for some parts of the region until 3 p.m. local time today. That includes a couple mountain areas as well as the I-5 corridor. But they say weather conditions are expected to return to normal this evening. That being said, next week, they say there's a moderate red flag event predicted for this coming Monday and Tuesday. As of right now, the Eaton fire, which has burned over 14,000 acres, is now 55% contained. The Palisades fire, which has burned close to 24,000 acres, that is now 22% contained. In all, CAL FIRE says they believe over 12,300 structures have been damaged or destroyed. A lot of residents desperate still to get back to their homes. The Los Angeles County Fire Chief saying in part, we continue to plan for the repopulation of evacuated areas when safe, but he said it will not occur for at least one more week. He went on to say, when I say one more week, that does not include the entire evacuated area, telling residents they are doing their best, trying to ensure that it is safe for people to return to their homes, that power lines are no longer live, that have been downed, that trees are no longer a threat, and also that hotspots are contained. Remember, we have seen search and recovery teams coming in and out of these communities, particularly in this area near the Eaton fire, searching for people who are still unaccounted for. Reporting in Pasadena, California, I'm Ellison Barber, NBC News.
Well, back here at home, some local nurses took to the streets today saying that they're not getting the support that they need. Nurses we spoke to outside of Ascension Seton Medical Center, Austin, say they're still understaffed and overworked, even after nurses there ratified the hospital's first ever union contract, which promised to make staffing improvements for nurses. The demonstrators, who are part of the National Nurses Organizing Committee and National Nurses United, say they have some concerns over health algorithms and how it could impact patient care.
Our biggest concern is things like algorithms and AI don't take in patient and human beings. You know, they can't. I know there's a lot of technology that does help us, computer charting versus when we had the shutdown and had to do paper. But we are concerned that taking away the human aspect of it can cause like delays or even patient harm.
A statement given to KXAN from the hospital reads in part, quote, "At Ascension, we recognize and deeply value the expertise, compassion, and dedication of our nurses who are central to delivering exceptional care to our patients. We are committed to safe staffing protocols informed by evidence-based medicine. Patient care and safety are always our top priorities. By responsibly embracing innovation, we aim to support our care teams as they dedicate themselves to ensuring the best possible outcomes for our patients."
And going in depth on this, there are some steps being taken to up the number of medical professionals in Texas. In December, St. Edward's University celebrated its first group of nursing students with the traditional white coat ceremony after launching a nursing program last fall. Each class can hold 20 to 40 students. An assistant professor of nursing told KXAN at the time, though, that the classes weren't at capacity just yet, but they were expecting them to start filling up soon. Meanwhile, our partners at the Texas Tribune report state lawmakers are looking at allowing certain out-of-state professionals to practice here. The proposal would see Texas joining some interstate compacts for 9 medical professions like audiology and speech pathology, dentistry, and social work. Providers could get a license to practice in multiple states.
Austin Fire Department crews rescued 10 puppies and their mother from a fire at a Northwest Austin home. AFD says all the animals appear to be doing okay. Fire crews responded to a home on Thicket Trail that's near Anderson Mill around 1 this morning after getting some reports of fire and black smoke coming from the garage. Crews put out that fire, which stayed in the garage and resulted in minimal damage for the rest of the house. Inside the garage, crews found these 10 puppies and their mother. AFD says space heaters sparked that fire, saying those heaters came too close to things that could and did catch fire. After 15 months, a deal ending the fighting between Israel and Hamas is set, but now there's a slight delay on the Israeli side. With this fragile truce, any setback is unwelcome.
And as NBC's Alice Barr reports, officials say the deal will still begin on Sunday as planned, and hostages will start to come home.
With the Gaza ceasefire and hostage deal set to take effect this weekend, the U.S. and partners urgently working to resolve an 11th hour snag.
I am confident, and I fully expect that implementation will begin, as we said, on Sunday.
Israeli cabinet members pushing a vote to approve the agreement back to tomorrow, with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu accusing Hamas of reneging on parts of the deal. Hamas maintaining it's committed to the agreement.
This is not an issue that is going to derail the whole implementation.
The fragile truce is set to roll out in 3 phases. Over the first 6 weeks, the fighting stops. Desperately needed aid surges into Gaza, and Israeli troops withdraw to a border buffer zone while exchanging Palestinian prisoners for 33 women, children, elderly, and injured hostages held in Gaza, including 2 Americans, a man in his 60s and a young father wounded in the October 7th Hamas attack. His father describing the image that keeps him going.
Sagi entering some room or a hallway somewhere, I hope and pray on his own 2 feet. And his 3 little girls now, one of whom he's never met, run and leap into his arms.
Israeli soldiers, other male hostages, and the remains of those killed would be released in later phases. More than 46,000 killed in Gaza, according to local health officials, and the Israeli strikes continue. This little boy pulled from the wreckage overnight, rescued as negotiators race to save the deal that could end the devastation. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Okay, back here at home, let's check in on the weather now. And it was a beautiful day today. Many people enjoying it outside.
Well, yeah, get that outdoor exercise in now because time is running out. Unless you love running in the cold, there's that too. Let's show you this incredible view from our Indeed weather camera at the Domain. You know, I had one of our loyal viewers messaged me on social media yesterday saying they really liked the view from the Domain looking south toward downtown, down Burnett Road there. And you can see the glorious sky. We've got 2 scattered clouds off to the south, allowing for a great looking sunset here this evening. You can see those are the clouds that we just showed you from our camera. There are much thicker clouds to the southwest of us. Those will be moving in overnight. So it's going to mean a mostly cloudy Friday. And if you think mostly cloudy, thinking cooler, no. There's actually going to be a southwest breeze tomorrow that will help to make tomorrow a little warmer than today. There may also be a spotty little sprinkle or light shower. You're seeing them out of the picture here by midday tomorrow, but there could be a couple of drops around here as well. Chances are low at 10% or less, but they are worth mentioning. I do think we'll also try and get some sunny breaks at times, especially late afternoon, with more of a partly cloudy to mostly clear sky setting up here for Friday night. There's going to be a strong cold front that comes through Saturday morning, but you're not going to know it based on looking outside. There's not going to be thicker cloud cover with it or any rain. We, in fact, expect a lot of sunshine both days of the weekend. We're at 62 right now in Austin, really much of the state, 60s. Some 50s toward the Panhandle. Not that cold for this time of year. Here's where the numbers go as we head through this evening. 50s turning into mid-40s by the time we start tomorrow morning. And then we'll be up in the mid-60s, even upper 60s, I think, in some areas. There could be some 70s as you get into the hill country and farther west. So a warmer day for us here tomorrow. Then our cold front starts to arrive early Saturday morning. Our high temperature, at least the morning high, will likely happen just after midnight, upper 50s to near 60 in Austin. Then our front comes through, knocks us down into the mid-40s here. As you wake up Saturday morning, step out, it's going to be chilly and breezy. But guess what? That front in the morning is not going to make it a cold all day Saturday because the sunshine's going to help us bounce back to about 60 in the afternoon. And then the real cold sets in Saturday night into Sunday morning when we drop down below freezing just about everywhere here in Central Texas and almost all of the state as well. And that sets us up for the cold air that'll be with us much of next week. So tonight we're down to 43, increasing clouds through the night. Tomorrow a mostly cloudy day, tiny sprinkle chance, and a high of 68. Here's your weekend then, a high of 60 on Saturday. We may hit this twice at midnight and then again at 3 in the afternoon. So Saturday, despite the morning cold front, still going to be okay to get around and out and about here during the day, but that breeze may make it feel a little chillier than that. Sunday, on the other hand, a breezy high of 41 is going to make it feel more like the 30s. And then comes the real cold, 39 Monday, 38 Tuesday for high temperatures before we start to climb out of this Wednesday and Thursday. Low temperatures, we'll call this a hard freeze for several nights in a row. Monday morning, 24, Tuesday morning, 26, Wednesday, 27. And there could be some light wintry precipitation as well. The timing of this arrives the second half of Monday night into Tuesday morning, and then drier weather later on Tuesday before some additional rain comes in as we head later into next week. Still, the chances of precipitation, though, are low. We're seeing a lot of signs that some of that moisture could get kept down to the south of us. So right now, 30% chances afternoon on Monday. That rises to 50% at night, down to 30% during the day. We'll, of course, keep tracking it.
All right, Nick, thank you very much. The White House is looking for ways to keep TikTok from going dark when its U.S. ban takes effect on Sunday. That's according to 3 people familiar with the discussions. The Supreme Court has yet to rule on the constitutionality of the ban, which received bipartisan support on Capitol Hill. Lawyers for TikTok say the law, which would force TikTok's Chinese owner to sell the app, violates the First Amendment. If the Biden administration moves forward with the plan to delay the ban, it would defer the issue to President-elect Donald Trump, who will be inaugurated on Monday. Both Trump and Biden have expressed concerns about the ban. After a few delays, Blue Origin's massive New Glenn rocket took off from Florida early this morning. The New Glenn, seen as a rival to SpaceX, fired off the launch pad at Cape Canaveral around 1 a.m., making it to orbit as part of a long-awaited debut mission. Blue Origin tried to land the rocket's booster on a barge in the ocean, but the booster was lost during re-entry through the atmosphere. No one was on board the flight, which carried a single small test payload into space. Jeff Bezos' space company was founded 25 years ago and partially operates out of West Texas. But apart from short trips to the edge of space, Blue Origin hadn't made it to orbit, making this launch a defining moment. As for what's next, as many as 10 New Glenn launches this year alone.
At the International Space Station early this morning, NASA astronauts Nick Hague and Sunny Williams did the first spacewalk of the year. Williams, you may remember, has been stranded on the space station after a technical issue meant she and another astronaut's scheduled return trip couldn't happen as planned. At today's spacewalk, the astronauts repaired an X-ray telescope, and this is the first on-orbit repair of a NASA space telescope by astronauts since the final Hubble servicing mission in 2009. The spacewalk lasted about 6 hours.
Well, coming up tonight on KXAN at 7 o'clock, it's Law and Order, followed by SVU at 8, then Found at 9 o'clock, before we're back with KXAN News at 10.